Hey guys, I'm Jax and this is my spoiler review for the new horror film, Alien Romulus. A visually spectacular, yet hollow, fan service heavy, greatest hits of the Alien franchise that redefines nothing except the phrase, man baby. So Alien Romulus is an interesting film because I left the cinema and I'm like, I like this. I gave it 4 stars on Letterboxd. But ever since then, everyone I've talked to, every thought I've had in my brain, I'm like, I'm not sure about that bit. I don't know if I loved that bit. That bit was weird. But then sometimes I would be like, oh, I loved that bit. Although it did lead to this bit, which I did not enjoy. Though, that being said, I loved this bit. It did once again lead to this bit that I did absolutely hate. This is a weird film. This is, in a lot of ways, a quintessential, iconic, mixed bag. Romulus was such a fascinating, interesting experience because for so much of it, I was just like, wow, I love this. I love the vibe of this. I love the aesthetic of it. I love how this looks and feels, the tone and atmosphere, but mostly just the vibe. I just really vibed with the vibe. And for the most part, I feel like that kind of overcame and overwhelmed and consumed all of the issues I had. Because there were so many moments in the film where I was like, I don't like that. But then like another shot would happen and I would just be like, look at this movie! Doesn't this movie look spectacular? The visuals, the production value, the sound design, the costumes, the sets, the alien creature designs, everything on a production level of this film, 20 out of 10. Honestly, some of the most beautiful visuals I've ever seen in a film. I absolutely adored so very much of it. Often, for sci-fi, I'm not really the guy that kind of vibes with being stuck on a ship and it's all dark and it's all grey and it's all kind of ugly and we're just locked in tunnels inside a ship just running about screaming. I don't know what you're thinking. That's Alien and Aliens. Yes. And I don't really like and love that aesthetic that much. I feel like the film is so good it kind of overwhelms those like aspects. But just for me personally, I'm a bit more of like a Star Wars guy or like a Firefly guy. Like if we're on a spaceship, I want to go and land on a planet and do cowboy stuff, essentially. I don't want to do a Battlestar Galactica where we're just stuck on boring, ugly, grey corridors. Don't at me. Every single human being I'm friends with, that I've ever been friends with, continually tells me I would love the show. I got 3 in. Just ugly, boring corridors. Not for me. Shut up. I know. I'll get to it. And so for this film that has that same aesthetic to just absolutely wow me, absolutely impress me, absolutely just astonish me, with its visuals, with its cinematography, with its framing, with its lighting, composition, other filmmaking words. It's mise-en-scene, if you will. Yeah, I went to film school. And I'll never get that money back. The visual artistry on display in this film, for lack of a better word, is orgasmic. Which, now I've actually said that out loud, feels like the worst type of phrasing, considering how sexually depraved the aliens are in their concept, design, and execution. This film is in no way orgasmic. I just want to put my foot down and take a stand, a bold stand one might say, and say I had no orgasms watching this film. I want to be very clear, 0 orgasms during the duration of the film. So when I originally saw the trailer for this film, I was kind of like, okay, I guess they're just gonna like remake Alien 1, but modern. Sure, I guess that makes sense. In a lot of ways, Prometheus and Alien Covenant are kind of like essentially the Alien version of the Star Wars prequels. So I guess it makes sense if we're gonna abandon that whole prequel situation and do like a new type of film, we're essentially going to do a Force Awakens and kind of remind people why they love Alien. But what I didn't expect from Alien Romulus, which is set between Alien 1 and 2 and is trying to kind of evoke the feelings and emotions of those original Alien movies and make you forget but somehow they also tie in strangely into Prometheus, making that fully canon, even though I feel like the timelines and continuity are so bad, they rival X-Men in terms of not making sense, even though I'm the only person in the world that loves Prometheus and Alien Covenant. I, understand they don't make sense, but I also don't really care about the Alien franchise. I just want to watch a good movie where Michael Fassbender, looks at a human and goes, "You want to find God? Well, I'm looking at my God, and he sucks. Maybe your God will suck." And they're like, no. You don't count because you're a robot. And he's like, I think this is the theme of the movie. And then he does weird mad scientist stuff. God, Prometheus, it's so good. Why do people hate it? I know why. And so I did expect this film to be a modern remake of Alien and Aliens. But what I did not expect was that this was going to be literally the one-for-one equivalent of The Force Awakens for the Alien franchise. It's essentially remaking Alien and Aliens at once together. There are shots completely taken from those movies. There are shots taken from almost every single Alien movie. The entire third act is spectacular and sensational and so bonkers and crazy and absurd. And it was a moment where I'm like, oh, I almost didn't think they made decisions and choices like this in modern Hollywood movies anymore. But that being said, even though it's clearly the highlight of the film and it's going to be very divisive, this is spoilers, what am I doing? The man baby. Oh my god, I loved the man baby. As soon as I realized we were man babying all over the place, I was like, give me more. Please, can I have some more? I'm all about that man baby. So perverse and weird and gross and disgusting, and the visual design, the spookiness, the weirdness, just so perverse and out of the world and just horrendously crazy. But that being said, it is just Alien 4 Resurrection. You might have forgotten that movie, but there's an alien in it that's essentially a human alien, and it's all white and it's got eyeballs, and at first you think maybe they're just eye sockets, but then you get closer and it's all and it's got eyes, and it's sad and it's happy, and it thinks that Ripley's its mother because she is, because that movie is absurdly insane. And that end, the way it gets sucked out of the portal, and just there are so many crazy visuals, and that movie is so absurd. And then also, you've probably forgotten, but in Prometheus, we have the same kind of thing where a woman at the start of the movie is like, "I'm pregnant. I can't wait for this baby to see the sun." And just like in this movie, which is "I can't wait for that baby to see the sun." I almost want to stand up and be like, that baby's gonna be an alien. But it is the same thing as when Budget Ripley from Prometheus has a baby, and then David's like, "I don't think you want to see the babygram, sonogram, Instagram, autogram." What is that thing? You know the thing where you do the hologram, bonogram? What is it? If only there was a way I could Google this. Oh, that's right, Google. And then giant squid, giant 500 meter, maybe 10 meter face hugger squid thing erupts, takes over the whole room, and consumes the Prometheus engineer thing in my favorite moment in the entire franchise. God, people don't want to hear this, but the more I think about Prometheus, the more I think it's maybe my favorite one. Even though I know that's blasphemous and I might literally be taken off Letterboxd for even suggesting such a thing, let alone my YouTube account. I don't even know what people would say if they knew the truth. So whilst the end is the best and the most inventive and the most new, fresh, different thing, it's essentially the same as every other Alien film. There's kind of a weird little extended fourth act where there's a big third act and they defeat the alien. But then twist, they didn't defeat the alien. And the only twist this time is, it's not an alien, it's some kind of man-baby engineer thingy. Which is kind of the same as Prometheus / Alien 4. So not original, even though it kind of feels original at first, and then you're like, well, not that original. And so it's just a bit of a funny case of I guess you're gonna love it if you love it, but maybe if you're like me and you're not that obsessed with the Alien franchise, and you're not so kind of disappointed by Prometheus and Alien Covenant, that this really is a return to form. It's the same as the prequels to Star Wars, where Force Awakens, and I love the prequels and I love Force Awakens. I love most Star Wars. I'm a Rise of Skywalker apologist, and I won't apologize. That being said, it is atrocious. It is just so funny to me how similar this film is to The Force Awakens in terms of like, if you really don't love Prometheus and Covenant, which I really do, all of the elements of Force Awakens that invoke those feelings of those first two Aliens movies, and a little slithers of the other two, but mostly, for the most part, the film is 80% aliens. So if you just want to experience that, if you want a finally good third movie in your Alien trilogy, get rid of the rest. If you really want that, this is kind of that. Because it gives you all those things. It gives you those feelings. It invokes that imagery. It invokes that tension, that mood, that atmosphere. It is more of that. There isn't any androids talking about what is the existence of life. And if you don't really want to have those kind of philosophical kind of, potentially at times, half-baked kind of themes and ideas, and very kind of thought-provoking concepts, even if at times they are half-baked, but like when Michael Fassbender is doing like a theme and idea that's half-baked, it kind of feels fully formed in a way. At least maybe that's just me. Maybe I just love him too much. That's not true. That is, in fact, true. Like, if you don't want and you didn't like those elements of those movies, this is a return to form. Mostly. But I feel like I'm kind of like somehow seeing both, where because I loved Prometheus, because I really enjoyed Alien Covenant for the double Fassbender. Two Fassbenders for the price of one! What more do you want? I kind of feel like I could see beyond the kind of trickery of being like, remember this, and I wasn't overwhelmed with it where I'm like, oh, we're finally back to the alien I want to see. I was mostly like, I know I'm the only person in the whole world, but I truly wanted and would have preferred Prometheus 3 than this film. That being said, it's mostly pretty good, but I still, like, before the film came out, I would have preferred Prometheus 3. Now it's out. I would have preferred Prometheus 3. Like, I know that they're not perfect by any means. I know. But they're doing something weird and different. And the David story that we were going on, I'm far more intrigued about. I'm far more interested in his character development and his crazy mad science just thing going on. I just love all of that stuff. There's just so much juicy, intense, thought-provoking stuff with this crazy madman who's like trying to find God, essentially, and wants to live forever, and he's made all these robots that will live forever. And by turn, David has kind of gone insane at the hypocrisy and the irony and the awfulness of all of this, and he just goes crazy and just starts doing mad science stuff. I just think all of that is rich and thematically interesting, whereas in this, it's just like, do you remember Alien? And I'm like, yes, I do. This film is an interesting mixed bag. I feel like every element I loved, there's a counter element that I just absolutely despised. For instance, every single Alien movie has one thing in common. The robots slash androids slash synthetic, whatever you want to call them, but the robot is always the best and most interesting character in every Alien film, and the best acted, at least from my opinion. I always enjoy that character the most, and this is no different. Andy the android is sensational. His acting is easily the best acting in the movie. And I really enjoyed his arc, character changes and switch-ups and thingamajoos for the most part. That being said, I feel like I had the biggest issues with his character. On one hand, it's easily the most interesting character, and it has the most development, and it's easily the best acting in the film. On the other hand, I'm not 100% sure how I feel about Autism robot. It kind of feels like a little bit in poor taste, a little bit off. I'm not really sure how I feel about the idea that the robot is malfunctioning, which just equals now he has autism. It just kind of feels like they're clearly going for something, and maybe it works for most people. I mean, most people love this, so I think it did. For me, it just kind of felt a bit like weird and off, and I'm unsure if that's the direction and the choice they should have gone with. But as I said, I still thought he was easily the best acted, and I thought his performance was very engaging, and the dynamic was intriguing. But then again, a lot of the character stuff that I thought was happening, where he gets a chip in his neck, and he starts to change, and he kind of recovers from his autism. See, this is what I'm talking about, where I'm just a bit like, I'm not really sure how I feel about all of this. But he recovers, and he's now a smart android. And he realizes, and there's like a moment where you go, he's pissed off that he's not coming on the mission to see the sun on that other planet. Like, he's hurt, he's betrayed, and there's a lot of interesting character dynamic between a brother and a sister. The sister's always looking after her older brother, for lack of a better word, who she treats like a younger brother. And now he's realizing these facts, and he's going to do something about it, and he's going to betray her and kind of go with his own kind, if you will. And there's some really interesting stuff there, but it feels kind of muddled, it feels a little messy, feels a little ugly and weird just because of all the autism stuff. And as I said, he recovers from the autism, and she's like, I don't like you now that I'm not kind of your superior in a lot of ways. I don't like you, cured from autism. And it's like, okay. I don't love that as a character point for our lead final girl. And then the arc of betrayal is kind of undone when she just takes the chip out, and he's just like the same as he was before. Andy, the android with autism, and he just kind of reverts straight back to that beloved brother that he once was. And all of the dramatic stakes and the tension between the two characters and all of that rich drama evaporates. And it's kind of all for nothing in a lot of ways, because it wasn't a character change that was brought on by him kind of being rebooted and upgraded. It was just that he was brainwashed. And there was some level of brainwashing, I understand that, but I feel like a more nuanced kind of take on it would have been more interesting. And maybe he could have come back and had a character turn back, like a 180 back to a 180. Or a 90? I don't know. I'm not good with math. But he did a big switcheroo to evil, but then he did a big switcheroo to good. That's not my issue. That can happen, even though I kind of think it would have been more interesting if he'd stayed as an antagonist. It's just that he didn't really switch back and forth via any, like, kind of actual character, like, decisions. He was just brainwashed. He was brainwashed by an evil magical chip that you put in your neck, and it made him bad. And I just found that kind of underwhelming once it all kind of played out. Like, even though I guess I probably should have expected that as it was playing out, I kind of thought it was gonna like maybe they took the chip out at the end, and he's like, actually, when I had that chip in, I learned some things, and I'm not okay with all of this, or something. I don't know. It just felt like we were building up to some really rich, interesting character stuff, and it ended up just being like, nothing? The single worst thing in this film is Robot Bilbo Baggins. I hated this more than I can possibly put into words. But since this is a audio word orientated thing I'm doing here, I will put it into words. Disgusting, horrific, an absolute abomination, maybe the worst thing I've ever seen with my eyeballs. The worst uncanny valley, deep fake, de-aging, just monstrosity and atrocious abomination to my eyeballs. A true assault of the, senses. I when I first saw him on the ground, I'm like, oh, it's like a robot. It's a sentient, a synthetic robot. Okay, cool. And then it turned around and I could hear it speaking and all that stuff. And I'm like, oh, it's Ash from the original Aliens. It's kind of cool. Then we see his face. And it's just like whiplash. Just like a visceral reaction of disgust and loathing. Like, for a while, maybe 15, 20 years ago now, it was kind of quaint. It was kind of fun. It was like an interesting novelty. This kind of crazy thing, this experiment Hollywood was doing with de-aging. And then as time progressed, I feel like somehow it kind of got worse for a little bit. And then suddenly it got really good. Really, really scary good. And then suddenly it has become an abomination. Unbearable, unwatchable nightmare. I could not watch him. I could not look at him. Every single second that Bilbo Baggins was on screen, I just wanted to stop looking at the movie. It threw me out of the movie because I was like, oh, they've de-aged this guy who's super old. It was just this horrifying blend of whatever science stuff, computerized things they're doing, just the CGI, whatever they were doing, just no. And on top of that, the fact it's kind of coupled with that member this, member that, member berries, it just felt like such a shallow, hollow, member berry, just cynical, just like, we've got to put this in. We've got to remind people of Alien and aliens, because they hated Prometheus with all its thinking and interesting themes and incredible acting by incredible actors. Just so gross and ugly. Let's put this disgusting husk CGI horrible nightmare that elicits in the worst way possible a thing they loved from 50 years ago. And he's not in it for 2 minutes. He's not in it for 5 minutes. He's like the third main character. Secret third main character too, because of course you're not going to reveal that in the trailers. It just like, it kind of ruins so much of the movie, because so many times it would cut back to him and I'm like, oh, that's right. Just so bad. Like, at least with, like, say, Tarkin in Rogue One, he's only in like 2 or 3 scenes. But this one it felt so egregious. It felt like we've come past this. I thought young, de-aged Indiana Jones was maybe the last time they were going to try this. Because for some reason, since Solo, they've taken all the wrong lessons from Solo. And they're like, oh, we better not recast anybody and like actually use actors who can act with their faces that exist and are real. No, we've got to make sure it's always CGI. And Luke Skywalker was the worst thing I've ever seen. Then it was like surprisingly better. But this one, I don't know what it is. I don't know what they did wrong. We've come so far. We really, truly have. Like, the new Luke Skywalker is so much better than other Luke Skywalker, which was, I think, the worst one I'd seen. This is worse. I don't know how they did it. I don't know what went wrong, but it really upset me. I don't really fully get Uncanny Valley that much. This is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. I loathed it with a passion on a conceptual concept from the Member Berries, remember the good movies that you loved. I loathe it. From the execution of it, I don't even know what a word is beyond loathing. I despise it. It's heinous. It's a heinous cinema act. Maybe I didn't like this movie. Honestly, it's a testament to how good the rest of the movie is with its visuals and its aesthetic and its mood and its tone, and just seeing the alien birth out of its alien cocoon, for lack of a better word. Like, that scene alone, I'm like, oh, this movie, yes. But just so much ash or rook or whatever it's called, just so disgusting. I also think it like there's this horribly, deliciously unfunny, unpleasant irony to all of it, that he's playing like a synthetic, like android robot. So like, it's not a human that we're seeing. It's like, he's robot. So like, it would almost work maybe if it was a different type of robot that it looks like that. But for me, I'm like, if the robots in that universe looked like that and had that Uncanny Valley thing, no one would listen to them. No one would let them board ships with them. Every single human, if you saw that robot, you'd grab a baseball bat and you'd beat that robot to death until all of its milk and ball bearings exploded everywhere and it was just a mush of milk and droid bits or whatever. Like, it's just, you'd kill it. You'd kill it. If I saw someone that looked like that on the street, even if I was at work, I'd kill them. Because I know that's not a human being. Another perfect example of something that I absolutely loved, but then in execution I feel like did something I absolutely hated, was the gun. We've got this big machine gun thingy or whatever that our main character, Budget Ripley, she gets a big gun and the guy's like, get the gun and don't you shoot though, because the aliens in this, they know what a gun is. They've played heaps of Fortnite and they know what a gun is. Sorry, I'm just trying to stay cool with the kids. You have guns in Fortnite, right? And so our main character, Budget Ripley, she's got a big gun. But like, how do you just have this random teen who's down on her luck trying to escape to another planet to see the sun or whatever the plot is? And like, how do you make her be able to shoot a gun? Because this is Alien 1, but it's also Alien 2. So we've got the spooky corridor stuff and it's all slow and scary and spooky. But we've also got big guns shooting lots of aliens all the time. So how do we make that make sense? And I think the workaround they have for this futuristic gun technology is actually incredibly genius. And I thought it was really, really cool and fun. And like the design of it and the way it worked and the visual like execution of it, really, really strong. You've got this big gun and it does like an auto lock to like the head of like the closest alien or whoever you'd be shooting at, like a video game. And like for someone like me who's a noob who always puts the auto headlock like mechanic of a video game on, if it's a possibility, if it's a choice, because I'm a noob and I hate like, I don't know, sucking at a game. I like being able to just headshot everyone and just have a bit of fun and go through the story. I don't know, so I'm very aware of what that is despite playing almost no video games. And I just thought that was a really fun, kind of really interesting, cool, futuristic technology thing you put on a gun. And it means that our budget Ripley character, who has no experience with guns, can be really good with a gun in a scene. And I think that's really, really clever. And it's a really great visual, like the way it locks into your arm and the way like you see like the mechanics of the gun and how it moves. All of that stuff, just super, super cool. But on the flip around, on the switcheroo, on the other side, on the flip side of it, if you will, the aliens, there's like, what, 50 to 100 of them or whatever, like an uncountable amount on screen, just kind of look like a bunch of chumps, like a bunch of just cannon fodder in a really uninteresting, unscary, boring kind of way. Like there's like 100 of them and she's like, what can I do? Oh, that's right, the gun will do everything for me. Bang, 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 and she just kills all of them. There's like so many of them. Kills all of them. And just so many of them are killed. And the gun is so effective. And I love the gun. But simultaneously, the gun and the concept of all that is super cool. Makes her a badass. But by making her a badass just because of this one thing, it somehow... yeah, it's something I love turns into something I hate, where the aliens are just so unthreatening, so non-intimidating. I'm just left like, I could take out those aliens. And I am a pathetic nobody. I have no experience with any weaponry of any sort. You give me that gun, I'm getting out of that space station. I'm killing every alien. No alien is coming close to me. Because for one, their blood and their acid blood just like doesn't really act like it would, which is super convenient for me. Not so much for the logic and stakes of the film. It's just so kind of lame to watch something being like, oh, if I had that, I'd be fine. And so there's suddenly no stakes. I mean, I know she's gonna survive because I've seen a movie before, but I want to suspend my disbelief and I want the movie to trick me into suspending my disbelief. Whereas it didn't. The whole time I'm like, oh, that's cool. Let's move it along though, shall we? Because there's no interesting stakes or tension or drama in this. Because like she can kill all the aliens. And also straight after that, when there's like an alien right next to her, the aliens are like, it's like doing that shot. You remember that shot from Alien 3? You don't. But you remember the poster. You just forgot it's from Alien 3. And like Ripley's all bald and she's like, and the aliens are like, and it gets up real close to her. But I presume doesn't kill her. Because she's got the queen inside of her? Don't quote me, but I feel like there's an actual reason the alien doesn't kill her. In this, they do the shot, and you're like, oh, it's the shot from that other movie that I despise. But in classic Hollywood fashion, in modern era, you do a callback to something I despise, but now I love it, because it's in a new, different film. And you're just reminding me of a thing that I remember. And my brain like goes, ding, 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 ding. Whistle, whistle, woof, whistle, Leonardo DiCaprio from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So yeah, great gun, terrible scene. Just like the aliens are like kind of a bunch of bitches.